Now, sir, we are entitled in considering a report of this character to enquire whether, and if so, to what extent, the objectives which the Bhor committee had in recommending the establishment of this institute and which the parliament had in implementing that recommendation by passing a special act for the constitution of this institute have been kept in view. If you read this report, you will hardly get an idea of the purpose for which this institution was intended. A disappointing feature of the progress so far made is that it has functioned more or less as an institution for the training for undergraduate students. It is precisely this thing that the Bohr committee did not want it to be for. It did not want to be another medical college, but what I note is that the institute has not been able to start postgraduate instruction in most subjects. The reason given is that of lack of accommodation and hospital facilities. Another distressing feature of the report is that postgraduate teaching has to be combined with undergraduate teaching. I think we attach importance to the separation of undergraduate teaching from postgraduate teaching. It was intended that there should be special laboratories for postgraduate students. Unfortunately, the report says that postgraduate teaching laboratories had to be shared with undergraduate teaching laboratories. Now, it was not necessary for us to have another medical college. With the amount of rupees 11 crores, we could have established a number of other medical colleges. We could have established even postgraduate courses in those colleges. We have the MSc degrees and postgraduate diplomas in the postgraduate departments of our universities which have medical faculties. This was to be a particular type of institution, and I think it is a legitimate criticism to offer that the purpose which was sought to be achieved by the establishment of this institution is being lost sight of, is not being kept in view. Then it is disappointing to note that for the postgraduate teaching there are no students from states other than the Delhi state in the institution. It has been practically a Delhi college, but it was intended that there would be students and there would be teachers of medicine who would be coming to this institution from all parts of the country. Then we have been told that there are a number of subjects in which postgraduate instruction is being given. I think that our reputation for medical scholarship cannot be built up in a sound way unless our research standards equal those of European and other Western countries. I do not say that 2 years is a good enough time for all these things to be done, but we should have liked to have some indication of the progress made in this direction. It is possible for anyone who is working in the institute, who is doing research, to give some information, but we are entitled to know something more than that. We are entitled to know what is your research, how has that research been received by those who are competent to judge the value of that research, how far is that research of value of the community generally. Mr. Deputy Chairman, there has been addition to the library, and it is heartening to note that residential quarters for the employees of the institute have been built and that the nurses' home is also ready for occupation. We have in this institute, I think, a nursing college, and I would like the Honorable Minister, when he replies, to give an indication to the appeal which this nursing college has made to the women of this country. We want some nurses of the highest professional standards, but I do not know whether we are getting the right type of material in this institution. Then the report frankly admits that the construction program has been painfully slow, and for this reason the postgraduate students admitted to the various departments have yet to be restricted. I think an endeavor should be made to go ahead with this construction program because the institute should be made to function in a way in which it was expected to function and as early as possible. I would like to say one or two words about the teaching staff. The Bhor committee was of the view that we should recruit our teachers from the world market and that we should have the highest type of teachers in our institutions. Now, a man may be an excellent physician, he may be an excellent working surgeon, but that does not make him, in my view, an excellent professor of medicine or surgery. From an academic point of view, we want doctors who are devoted to the science of medicine as a science. The Bhor committee hoped that this would be something like the medical faculty of the Johns Hopkins University and revolutionized the medical science. Sir, in this list of the various causes that led to the crisis which the textile industry was facing, only the fourth had anything to do with the September policy. The other three had nothing to do with the policy of the government but had everything to do with the efficiency of the management of the textile industry as such and their desire to get larger profits even at the risk of inviting consumers' resistance and thereby leading to the accumulation of stocks with the industry. Because the committee has concentrated its attention mainly on the policy of the government of September 1986, they have not been able to diagnose more fully the reasons that are responsible for the accumulation of stocks and, still more important, they have not been able to give any recommendation regarding how the accumulated stocks can be disposed of. Sir, in this report and the various recommendations of the committee, there is hardly any mention of this problem, namely the problem of disposal of the stocks which have accumulated with the textile industry. Another reason also has been given regarding the accumulation of stocks with the mills. According to the committee, the accumulation with the mills is largely due to what they call the drying up of the trade channels because the offtake from the mills has dwindled and the accumulation with the industry of stocks has increased. At one point, they make a rather startling statement when they say that if one were to compensate for the decrease of stocks with the trade, it would be found that there would be no accumulation of stocks with the industry at all, which is in excess of the stocks normally with the trade. In other words, there is no problem according to this committee of the accumulation of stocks at all. It is merely a question of the distribution of stocks between the industry and the trade. If some means could be found whereby the trade can be encouraged to take a larger share from the industry, the problem of accumulation would be automatically solved. That particular recommendation deals with the larger credit facilities to the trade, and it is almost taken for granted by the committee that if larger credit facilities are given, the trade will have a larger take from the industry and the problem of accumulation will be solved. I would submit that in spite of the figures that have been given over three, the problem of accumulation of stocks remains as serious and as acute as ever because this small shortfall which is now visible in the accumulation of stocks is largely due to the decreased production and not increased offtake either by the internal consumers or through export. Therefore, the question of accumulated stocks remains as baffling as ever in spite of the investigations of the committee and the recommendations that the committee has already made and which the government has already accepted. To my mind, the real problem that the textile industry faces is the problem of these accumulated stocks, and that can only be solved by finding some way whereby either this stock is sold within the country and outside the country. At one point, the report says that a large part of the stocks is unwanted and unsellable because it consists of coats, dhotis, and saris which are not required by the market. Consumer preference is for finer varieties and therefore the coarse stock is lying idle. If that be so, the government and the trade will have to apply their mind to find out what inducement can be given to the consumers in order to see that somehow or other this stock is taken off the hands of the industry. Sir, when we heard about the burning of wheat and potatoes in the United States because production there was in excess of the requirements of that country, we were laughing over it here. When a large number of people of other countries are dying for hunger, it is rather preposterous that these stocks should be destroyed in the United States. What is happening in our own country regarding these dhotis and saris is that while a large number of people are going without adequate clothing, these stocks are getting deteriorated in the hands of the mills. Therefore, just as we demanded that the stocks of wheat and potatoes in the United States should be given to other countries where they are badly needed on certain advantageous conditions, sooner or later the industry and the government will have to come to the same conclusion regarding this stock which is lying with the industry today. There is no other way of solving this problem because as the committee rightly points out, it is an unwanted stock and it is unsellable stock. This is the finding of the committee that largely the closure of mills is due to bad management which purposely allowed the machinery to be deteriorated in order to earn larger profits.